I led my boss to Christ when I was up in northern Saskatchewan. He phoned me one day. He goes, "Dave, can you pick me up?" So I picked him up, and he's bawling his eyes out. He goes, "Dave, I got to change my life. I need what's in you."
Welcome to Tribal Trails. We are here at the Central Heights Church interviewing Rusha and Dave Claassen. Thank you for coming and sharing your testimony with us.
Thank you.
And Rusha, I will start with you. Just tell me just a little bit about yourself, just so we know you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, so I am an outdoor enthusiast. I love being outside on the water and in the garden, and I love people, I love my family, and I love my God.
Your family, how many children?
Oh, so we have 4 children I've given birth to, and 1 we've chosen.
Okay.
And then we have 2 daughter-in-laws, and we have 3 grandchildren.
Okay.
So it's very exciting.
Yes.
Yes. And this is my husband, Dave. We have been married for 37 years and just celebrated that in April, and it's a blessing. So my journey of faith began as a child being taken to church by my mom, and then as a teenager, understanding the complete story of who God is and what He did in sending His Son, made a decision to follow Jesus, and have been growing and learning ever since. And right now I'm a women's pastor at this church in Abbotsford.
Yeah, and you are?
My name is Dave Claassen. I grew up I was born in Manitoba.
Okay.
Grew up in the Okanagan, and my parents left quite early, right after I was born. And yeah, it was a great place, the land of peaches and beaches.
Oh.
And so a phenomenal place to grow up. We just had this back door, 4 seasons all the time. I like the outdoors, but I mostly like to watch it on a calendar. I like to see when you turn it, there's different outdoors. And I like to watch people swim and watch people climb mountains, but most of my stuff's inside. And,
Are you an athlete?
I was an athlete. 2 hip replacements later, I'm not so much of an athlete, but I played basketball. I was a basketball player.
And an astounding basketball player. He was very good.
And that's actually how we met. We
okay.
traveled together on a bus, and I was sitting in the back with a buddy of mine. I said, you know, life's good, and we were just going back and forth. And then there was
You were in college?
Yes, we were. And
Yep.
we were just sitting waiting for the girls' team, of course, and then this bright light shone from the front. And I looked, and then this vision of beauty, this angel just kind of floated up the middle of the aisle.
And you said, "She's mine."
This is a very serious story. And I turned to my buddy, I said, "See that girl? I'm going to marry her one day." He looked at me and he said, "You know that girl? She's the most popular girl in the college. You don't got a chance." I was like, "Come on, are you kidding me?" And so with some master trickery and some, you know, dead flowers that I resurrected and gave to her, and, you know, all sorts of dates, she finally, not only did she agree to date me, but she agreed to marry me in 1985.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so on that journey, there were some differences in how we viewed life.
Right.
And I had a deep longing to know God and to walk with Him, but really didn't understand all the principles. And when I met Dave, he was curious about some of the things that I believed and knew, and yeah, began his own faith journey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I probably had a deep longing as well. I had a longing for 3 things in my life. I had learned early that I wanted to be as rich as possible, to be as famous as possible, and to have as many girlfriends as possible. But the third one didn't seem to work out as well as the other 2. So I started looking at my life and trying to figure out where I could get those things. Because when I looked outside the world, it seemed like those people that had those things seemed happy. So, you know, I thought I was pretty smart, but I wasn't the smartest person in the class. I thought maybe I looked pretty good, but Hollywood wasn't calling too soon. But there was a couple things I was really good at. I was really fast, and I was really good at sports. And so I had to choose the sport, and so basketball was my ticket, I thought. So I just started pouring my life into this game. And as I started pouring my life into the game, it started giving me dividends right away. I started seeing my name in the paper. I was on TV. I was on the radio station. And I could just hear people go, oh, great job, great job. And so I started getting these awards and feeling like, you know what, things are great for me. Like, look at how much people love me. And yet, when I didn't play well, when things didn't work out, I just felt empty inside. And I would remember going to the bar or drowning my sorrows or trying to forget who I was, and then just pick it up again on Monday to try and become who I thought I could be. And it just kept leaving me empty. It's like the story of the Arctic wolf, how Arctic wolves are killed by taking a Bowie knife and creating a blood popsicle, and then putting the hilt into the Arctic and then waiting. And then at nighttime, the Arctic wolf would come and lick that blood popsicle and keep licking it until they got down to the knife and eventually cut their tongue.
Never heard of that story before.
Well, they would bleed themselves to death,
yeah.
but out of their hunger, and that's kind of how I felt. I'm like this thirsty, ravaged wolf searching for anything that would feed my lonely soul. And so when I met Rusha, I was instantly attracted to who she was, but I was also instantly attracted to who she was inside. And I just kept investigating it because what she had was what I wanted. And then when she introduced me to her family, I was like, wow, like they seem to have way more than me. And yet I'm so much taller, so much faster, so much bigger. How could they have more than me? Yeah. And it was just this attraction. And so we started going to church. Her family went to an Anglican church, and we followed her mom and her sisters and Rusha to the Anglican church early in the morning. And then her brother invited us to the evangelical church next door.
Yeah, so we went to both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm getting twice as much church than I ever had in my life.
Yes.
In 1 year, I think I got as much church as anyone would in 5 years.
Yeah.
But it was, I know a lot of people complain about the church, but it was where I found answers to spiritual questions. And it just seemed like every time that pastor would speak, every time he would talk, it was like, how did he know I was doing that? How did he know that that's what I was struggling with? And so I remember her brother-in-law, who was a Christian, and he just was so patient with me, as Rusha was. And we just started talking about so many spiritual things. Well, what if? Well, and? Well, and he would just answer and answer. And then one day he says to me, you know, Dave, we've talked a lot about spiritual things. He said, it's either true or it's not true. If it's not true, you don't have nothing to worry about. You can just go live your life the way you are. You're an athlete, you'll become a teacher one day, you'll probably be successful in whatever you do. But if what Jesus said is true, and you don't accept him in your life, you got an issue. You'll spend eternity without him. Oh, I didn't like that. I drove out of his yard, I parked on the top of this mountain, and I just thought about it. And I just felt so empty. I was like, okay, I don't know if you're real or not, but if you are, if you can fix this in my heart. And so I asked him to come into my life that day. And I remember driving home because Rusha lived about an hour away. And I was driving home and I'm like, okay, well, God, now's your time to talk to me. I was like, okay, well, I turned the radio on. I'm like, Dave, this is God. This is what I want you to do. Never happened. I was like, well, God can do anything. So I turned the radio off. Then I rolled down the windows and I was like listening. And then finally I got home and I started walking around the house. I'm like, God, please talk to me. And I got about 5, 6. And then I remember I can't go 7 because something happens in 7 when you're walking around something. I remember some story. And I just remember going to bed going, is he there? Is he there? And I remember going to practice the following day, and I'm at practice, and I remember we're playing this, we have this drill that's going on, and there's a group of guys on one side of the gym and another group of guys, and you're supposed to pass the ball to the player, and you're supposed to go down to the basket and score, but this person's chasing you, adding pressure. So I remember got the pass, I turned around, and boom, went right through my hands and hit me straight in the face. And instantly what came out of my mouth was Jesus Christ. But I had never said Jesus Christ as a Lord and Savior. I'd only said it as a swear word. And as I said the word, I had taken 2 steps, and it was like someone grabbed me and said, do not take my name in vain. I was like, what? And everyone else was playing. It was like so audible to me. Are you kidding me? The practice went on, and sure enough, there was another drill. It went off my foot, and the same name came out of my mouth. And I remember stopping, do not take my name in vain. And I knew something was different. I didn't know what was different. It took me many, many years to figure out how to have a relationship with Jesus. In fact, my brother-in-law, when I told him I had committed my life to Christ, he rejoiced, and then he goes, Dave, you thought becoming a Christian was hard?
Yeah.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Living the Christian life is by far harder.
Yeah.
So, yeah, God just took a hold of me and gave me wholeness. Yeah. And yeah, my life's never been the same.
Praise the Lord.
Yes.
Yeah. And I want to say what I saw
Okay.
in a changed character too was just more of an assurance of direction, able to take more risk. The injury that came after that didn't stop him from feeling like he didn't have value. He had value regardless of whether he had the game of basketball or not. And I think just the life we've been able to build together in faith has been really beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're really thankful because without God's foundation, we're selfish people. And
But you're mostly so.
no, I don't know about that. And so with God's love and with God's truth, we're able to build a home that has a foundation that's stable. And we're able to see beyond ourselves and long for more than, and he's shown us more than we thought we knew everything. And we thought we had great plans, but God's shown us so much more. And Dave has worked in full-time ministry for many years as a chaplain and director of camps, and yeah, lots of opportunity to share God's truth.
Tell me about that. You're a chaplain. How did that happen?
Well, we were working in northern Saskatchewan after I became a Christian.
Where?
In the place called La Loche, Saskatchewan.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, you were married then?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
well,
and she was
I went up there
teaching.
by myself, and then we
Yes.
got married in that spring, and then
Oh, okay.
we were up there for 2 more years together.
She said, enough of this athlete, I'm going up there. And then I followed her.
He did.
Yeah.
Yes.
We actually got engaged at Three Hills because I was
Oh,
like,
neat.
maybe she's not coming down. Like, maybe she's not coming back. I better do something. So I bought her a 10-carat diamond ring, but I can't find it. So then I just gave her a band. So anyways, that's kind of the way
Yeah,
it's working.
exactly. But yes, so we had 2 years in La Loche, and 2 years married, and I was
And you
there
were
for her.
teaching also? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I went up there. I thought I had a job working at an IGA because I was going to school. I was trying to become a teacher. I was like, things just aren't working for me here. But anyways, I got offered this job in northern Saskatchewan. I was like, okay, I get to be near Russia. We're going to get married in April. This is awesome. So when I went up there, they gave the job to someone else. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? And so the individual that I was living in the basement with, he says, why don't you just come and help cut meat with me? I need someone to be an assistant butcher. I'm like, okay. So I helped him cut meat. And he goes, you know what? Actually, we need something else. And I did that. He says, what were you going to university for? So I was going to be a teacher. He goes, well, have you thought about asking him to sub? It's like, okay. So I went to the high school and the elementary school, and I said, hey, you guys ever need any subs? We'll need you tomorrow. I was like, okay, I'll sub. Then I would work at the school, I would work at the IGA, and then my friend said, you ever thought about getting your bus license? I was like, no, I never thought about that. And he says, well, we have a convention that happens in Prince Albert every year. Why don't you come down and get your bus license? I said, okay. So I went and got my bus license. I was driving bus in the morning. I was working at the IGA and subbing. I was making more money than I'd ever made before in my life.
And then a coaching opportunity.
Oh my goodness,
So he
of
coached
coaching.
basketball.
Yeah, those were crazy years.
Yeah, they were good.
It sounds like it, but
Yeah.
it sounds wonderful.
It was wonderful.
You can do those kind of things when you're young.
Yeah, that's true.
When
Give
you're
it to
young.
me, I can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we spent a couple of years there, and then we decided to finish our degrees because our goal was really to go back there. We went back to Simon Fraser University, where both of us went to school, and I decided to try out for the men's basketball team. I was like, I'm really out of shape. I should try out for the men's basketball team. And so I tried out, and every week goes by, and I'm like, they haven't cut me yet. Like, what's going on? I must not be paying attention or something like that. And next week would go by, and I'm still there. Finally, I found out that I made the team. I was like, I don't want to make this team. Like, I got a wife. I got to go to school. I just was doing this for the fun of it. And then I found out that I could play on the junior varsity team, which was a step down. I was like, I'm in. I don't want to play on that other team. They do way too much work. And so while I was there, I got contacted by a guy from Athletes in Action who was on campus. And so he talked to me about Athletes in Action. And I just happened to, the summer before, read a book about Athletes in Action. And in my mind, I'm like, where were these guys when I was in high school? So he asked me, do you know anything about the organization? I go, yeah, I know quite a bit about it, actually. I knew more about the history than he did, only because I read the book. But he said, well, would you be interested in a Bible study? Of course I want to be involved in a Bible study. How about sharing your faith? Yeah, I really want to do it because I never knew how. I led my boss to Christ when I was up in northern Saskatchewan. He phoned me one day. He goes, Dave, can you pick me up? So I picked him up. On the side of a road, I had stopped, and he's bawling his eyes out. He goes, Dave, I got to change my life. I need what's in you. I was like, well, he says, how did you do it? I said, I don't know. I just one day asked Jesus to come into my heart. He goes, like, how? I said, well, bow your head and I'll tell you. Dear Jesus, I'm a rotten guy. Please come into my heart. He goes, that's it. That's what I did.
It was so great living in that community
so
in La Loche because there were missionary couples there that really built into us, young people up there, that are young in our faith and new in relationship and spent so many hours answering questions, encouraging us, praying for us.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah, just really being there. But yeah, back on the university campus, Dave got really challenged by Athletes in Action, and it was good.
So I needed a job in the summer. Rusha started teaching right away. We honestly had thought we had saved quite a bit of money coming from the north. And when we got to Vancouver, it was almost like we had been sheltered in northern Saskatchewan. And we had saved a chunk of money, but it sure wasn't enough to keep us going. And I remember we both were like, well, what are we going to do? We had an apartment. The cost was quite high. Well, cost of living, we had one vehicle. And so Rusha one day in class.
Yeah, there was a woman in my class who was subbing for a class in Surrey, and she said, "Oh, I'm older. I'm just doing this because they're waiting to find someone." She was like, "You should apply." So I applied, and then I taught there for the next 3 years. And in that period of time, I again grew. We got plugged into our community, and had just great opportunity to solidify our married relationship. And then Dave got involved with Athletes in Action on a full-time basis.
Yeah. Although she's being very humble, because when the teacher phoned a reference in northern Saskatchewan, the principal said, I know a lot of people, but you better not hire her. She's a phenomenal teacher.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
That's so kind.
I think she would be.
Yeah. So here I'm with Athletes in Action. I'm doing a Bible study. I need a job in the summer because we need some money. The guy from Athletes in Action said, have you ever done sports camps before? I was like, no, I've never done that before. So he says, well, they're doing a camp at Trinity Western University and so I go there. Sure enough, I'm doing camps. They assign me a team. I'm coaching this team. We're talking about Jesus. I remember sitting down with this young boy and asking him about about the talk that night. He goes, well, it really made sense to me. I said, well, what would you like to do? He says, I think I'd really like to ask Jesus into my heart. Right there, sitting in the cement outside the gym, I led this boy to Christ. I was like, what? I can play basketball, I can do sports camps, and I can lead people to Christ? Amazing. This is the greatest job in the world.
How good is that?
Yeah, how good.
I felt like the lady that would just come out of Walmart going, get the car going, all these sales, don't tell anybody.
Get the card.
And I was like, wow, are you kidding me? So when he said, what do you think about doing this full time? I'm like, I'm in. And then I went home, and it wasn't the same story. Rusha wasn't totally
I
in.
wasn't so sure about the all-in because I loved teaching. I loved my job, and at that point...
And you're good at it.
And at that point, there were different policies and things when you join ministry organizations, and yet there was a definite call on Dave's heart to follow in this way. And I think actually he was designed and made for this, that God fashioned it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really, really neat to see unfold in your spouse,
Yes.
to see that excitement and that
Yeah.
passion.
Yeah.
But it was back and forth between the two of us, and we got asked actually to go on a
International tour?
actually international tour to Mexico.
Yeah,
it
to
was
Mexico.
It was as chaperones for our home church. Yeah. And so while we're there, I was just kind of wrestling with, what does God want me to do? The problem for us was the policy for Campus Crusade for Christ at that time, Athletes in Action, was that if you're going to come on staff, you had to come on as a couple.
Oh.
You had to come on as a couple.
Yeah.
And Risha was so good at her job. And I knew that this was the calling I had. It's just that we're newly married. We'd only been married maybe 4 years, 5 years. And I just didn't think that I could make this decision without her doing it. And so I was really reluctant to say yes unless we were both in agreement. The gentleman that had asked us to come on the trip one night while I was at the fire with him, he says, well, why don't you throw a fleece out like, Gideon did? It's like, what do you mean? He goes, well, just ask for something that there's no way it could happen. I was like, okay. So I'm by the fire looking at it, and I'm like, okay, God, if I'm supposed to come on staff, they'll change the policy and they'll allow me to come on by myself, and Risha won't have to come on. And so I went back to Vancouver. We'd finished this trip in Mexico. There was a message on her voicemail. Dave, can you call us? It's an individual from Campus Crusade for Christ. We'd like to meet with you and Risha again. So it was fine. We had arranged another dinner. We met with them, and they said, well, you'll never believe what's happened. We've decided to change the policy. Wow. And so I've always believed what's called you on should call you off. And since that time, Risha's joined staff, and she's left teaching, and we've now been on staff for 30-some years. But the whole chaplaincy, which has been a long story that we've gone to, when I'm on campus, the MBA had decided that they wanted to expand internationally, and that was the decision in the 90s, that they were going to go to Toronto. And then they made a decision to come to Vancouver. Well, I went to my boss and I go, hey, basketball's my game. Like, if they, if you guys need a chaplain, I really want to be it. Well, sure enough, they come to Vancouver. Sure enough, they need chaplains. And myself and another couple guys for the first year became the chaplains. It just happened, though, because I had been working at UBC and SFU and Trinity Western. When the MBA comes to the city, they steal all the people from the universities, people who had been timekeepers or scorekeepers. So I remember walking into my first game and going, hey, Sally, how you doing? Hey, Joe. I knew everyone because I had been working with them all these years.
Yeah.
And it was about 6 months, a year later, and then the following year, I was, Dave, you're the guy. Why don't you do it?
Yeah.
So during those years with the Vancouver Grizzlies, I just grew this great love for being able to minister in chaplain MBA. But it was one day coming back from, on the SkyTrain from Vancouver back to Surrey, where we were living at the time. I was just thinking about my life and how we got married, and we're in northern Saskatchewan, and how we came back down south to finish our degrees, and our plan was to go back up, and how things changed. And my goal was to become an NBA basketball player, and how I just gave that up, and I was never going to get that chance again. And then it was this small, quiet voice in my heart said, no, Dave, you made the NBA. I was like, what? And then I just listened, and it was, you made the NBA not as a player, but as a chaplain. And over these years, as the CFL has come, as Major League Baseball, as other basketball leagues and other leagues that have come professional, I realized that God had his hand on my life to make it not as a player, but as his chaplain.
And so it's been awesome.
Yeah, and it's so great because, like he's already spoken of, you know, the love of the game, the love of the sport, and the love of the athlete, and then to see Dave's opportunities to develop people in ways that wouldn't have and couldn't have happened if you were only on one team. But when you have an opportunity to touch so many, it's been pretty amazing. And then the benefits our family have experienced from that, of just knowing different venues and avenues of sport themselves, hearing from so many players share their stories of faith. And yeah, it's been quite the journey that God's taken us on, and we're incredibly thankful for those people who took the time to share, challenge, develop, and nurture these journeys that we've been on.
Thank you so much, Rusa and Dave, for your story. It's amazing how God changed Dave's heart, even in the little things. They both experienced God working in their lives, and they trusted Him in putting the details together. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight." So, if God spoke to your heart, and you're tired of your old life, or seeking for the meaning of life, turn to Jesus Christ. He wants to forgive all your sins,